how do I just make myself so valuable that like everyone wants to be my friend?
Yes.
Right.
I have a friend of mine. He paid 150,000 to PBD, Patrick Bet David, just to like coach him through a couple of stuff and turn his business around.
Yep.
I know another friend of mine who paid a bunch of money to Tony Robbins. I will tell you, before I got in this space, I was super skeptical. Now, when you buy someone's course and you get a really positive ROI and you skip these early steps, especially when you compare it to the price of actual traditional education, man, like the idea of like buying an Amazon FBA course or buying a course on like Closer Academy or RCA from Cole Gordon or something like that, how much the ROI on that compared to getting a degree in philosophy and how much money you have to spend.
Yeah.
Can you talk about this is for you? Have you gotten to the point where you like buying courses, and how do you judge which courses that you buy for your own education?
You know, for me at this point, we still buy courses and all that stuff. I would say like my own personal development, I spend a lot of time, money, and resources on just networking and relationships, right? So it's like, you know, all the people you've been mentioning, I've been fortunate enough to be able to have them speak at my events, and I haven't had to pay them anything, you know, and like we get all these people on the podcast, and, you know, I just try to create like something of value that people would want to freely come to. So it's like, hey, I know if I speak at Ryan's event, it's going to be worthwhile for me, right? And so they come. If I come on Ryan's podcast, I'll come to Vegas and I'll do it because it's worthwhile for me. So if I can create things of value, I'm just going to attract those people anyway, right? And then at that point, once I bring the right people in and I build a relationship, I go direct to them. Like I'm not watching their course, you know? So it's like, it's really interesting because that's bailed me out so many times, you know, being able to just text Dan Martell or Neil directly. I mean, this was, I'll just show you right now. So like today, who was I texting? I was texting Neil earlier today at 12 about something. Then I was texting Hormozy about something.
Yeah.
And then I was texting Cole. He's right there. And then I was texting Jared from Cardone's. So like, that's what my day is like.
Yes.
Like I go through problems in business and I'm like, dude, how did you do this?
Yeah.
And then like, that's it. That's how I learned.
I literally texted Cole Gordon yesterday about how do we set up compensation packages for additional coaches, like yesterday. It's really interesting. So Cole and like, I'll stay at Cole's house. Cole and I have a relationship, and then my sales team has a relationship with his instructors, and those are two different relationships.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, Bilzerian might be doing a course in the future. Me and Dan have a relationship, and then Dan's team and my team have a relationship. So it's like what you said before, right? And I do think that is important, that I can just call some of these guys up. A lot of times, like whenever there's a controversial thing and I don't know how to answer like what I'm going to say, I'll listen to Patrick Bet David. I'll be like, before he goes on, I'm like, what is PBD? Because PBD is like, he's not alt-right. He's like politically conservative. He's not far out there. And I find myself agreeing with a lot of stuff he's saying. So I'm like, okay, what would PBD say in this situation? And so that's another thing that's like actually been really helpful. Exactly what you're saying. It's like being able to network with those people. Very controversial individual in Romania that I was going to go fly out there and interview. And the first thing I did was ask Dan Fleischman. I was like, dude, can I do this? Because you and I know some people who are very politically progressive. And if I go out there, they're going to be pissed at me. And he's like, you have to do it. Like, you have to do this. And I was like, and that kind of changed my opinion on a lot of stuff. So you're right.
So you ended up going out to Romania and you filmed with them?
No, he got arrested and went to jail for several months. But I still do text him every once in a while.
Got it.
Yeah. Maybe at some point in the future.
Yeah. I'll say, like, even for, you know, PBD and all these guys, I mean, like, they're at such a different level. You know, I was with Ed Milet a couple of weeks ago at his house filming. And just to I didn't have a relationship with him before.
Yeah.
And now we do. And it's like, now we've been talking about just different things and opportunities. But like the one thing that I think for me, I guess, that offers a lot of these guys value. So actually, let me take a step back. So one thing like Fresh and Fit and those guys talk about that I think is really interesting is like, hey, being a man of value. Like, how do you offer value for them, the context of women, right? You know, you can be good looking, you can be fit, you can have a good career and whatever else, right? I think about that as like me as an entrepreneur to these guys. What would make them want to have a relationship with me? You know? And so I've thought about it a lot, and I'm like, how do you become a great connector? And it's like, okay, well, what are the different ways you can provide value to people? And it's like, okay, one is attention. And so, okay, the podcast, the events, I can offer attention. That's a big one. Another one is skill. I can offer them skill and knowledge and maybe something they don't have skill and knowledge on. Luckily for me, most of these guys don't know anything about real estate, but they want to learn. And so what happens is Neil calls me up. He sells a $20 million home. He's like, hey, what do I do in this situation? That literally happened. Cole Gordon has invested in my fund. Like these guys asked me about that. So I'm like, okay, what kind of skill can I offer them in value? The third thing is just simply being a good connector overall. So it's like, hey, you want to meet this person? Let me connect you with them and, just be of value. And so that's kind of like where I'm at today is how do I just make myself so valuable that like everyone wants to be my friend?
Yes.
Right.
I love that you said that. I literally posted 9 a.m. this morning. My team posted one and I was like, it was a clip. And it basically was saying especially as a man, you're not a special snowflake. Like I had Justin Waller come on here and he goes, I don't really want to be friends with people I can't make money with. And he wasn't trying to say that to be shallow, but he was saying that like, I only have so much time in my day to be friends with people. And like these people who are the ones that I have the most in common with. Now I'm not to that level. I have tons of friends I don't make money with.
Yeah.
But the idea that, like we have these people in our lives that like you can becoming valuable to other people is like the best way of networking. Because one of the other things is like you believe, oh, I'm a special snowflake and all these people are going to like me just because of my internal energy or my chakra or, whatever the new thing is. And my whole thing is I don't want people to like me for that. I want people to understand that I can be valuable to them. And then the other thing I learned was from Fleischman is I do as much as I can for other people and ask for nothing in return.
Right.
That's another thing. I try to create so much goodwill with as many people as possible. And the doors that have opened for me have been exponential just from that one concept. It's very hard. And this is another idea. And I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I feel like that mentality weeds out cluster B personality disorders.
What is a cluster B personality?
Sociopath, so antisocial personality disorder, histrionic, narcissistic, and borderline.
Got it.
I think the idea of me doing things for other people and asking for nothing in return weeds out cluster B personality disorders. Specifically the sociopath types. I think those type of individuals eventually get to a point where they're like, I'm not getting anything out of this from this relationship, so I don't want to do this anymore. So that's why I like it, especially the philanthropic stuff that we do. So I love Cole Hatter. I met Cole Hatter in 2 seconds. You're like, this is a great dude.
Yeah.
Immediately when you talk, this guy's great. You meet Cole Gordon, you meet like immediately this guy's a great dude.
Yeah.
When you listen to Wes Watson, you're like, this guy loves his client. He loves them.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the issues why I really like this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Is because I'm dealing with people who the meritocracy or the free market has rewarded them with success and monetary gains. And in addition, they do things where they have to literally care or else the market is going to weed them out. Because there's too many people offering value for you to be the one who isn't.